Can he decide the litigation immediately? No, he cannot. He will have to rely on the evidence. Until it is proved, he has to consider the man guilty, innocent. So this procedure itself is detrimental to the speedy justice, because we all are tied up. The third gain which happens through mediation is that the litigation receives a finality, because through mediation you enter into a settlement, whereas in the orthodox system the litigation ends into a judgment which is appealable. So the second round of litigation begins, which is further appealable, and the third round of litigation begins. And when everything is over, the writ petition is always open. One goes to writ petition. And I must tell you that Indian Supreme Court is the only Supreme Court which is flooded with useless matters. If you compare it with the US Supreme Court, the litigation never reaches up to that point. And honestly, when the Constitution of India was promulgated, our forefathers must not have realized that Article 132 to 136 will be so much of dangerous propositions that the entire matter will reach up to Supreme Court. Every next matter reaches to Supreme Court. It would have been better had that been limited to Article 32 of the Constitution of India itself. But because of these further articles added, appealable situations, criminal appeal, civil appeal, everything under the sun goes up to Supreme Court. I've handled a matrimonial matter in the Supreme Court where 32 years after the litigation, both the parties, warring parties, went up to Supreme Court. What is left after 32 years in the marriage? And the climax was that after 32 years of constant litigation, the Supreme Court sent them to mediation. So if it has to be mediated, they could have mediated right at the inception. But after 32 years, the Supreme Court is sending them to mediation. But the truth is that you'd be so shocked and surprised that it got resolved in the mediation. So that is the power of mediation. If somebody is a trained mediator who can bring semblance to the head of litigants, things can be solved. Like this beautiful drama portrayed before us, the skit, they have shown that everything can be settled. The next important thing in the mediation must be taken care of, that whosoever is the mediator, whether he is a lawyer, he is a judge, but the mediator must realize his limitations. And the limitation is that he cannot impose his will upon the parties. He has to facilitate the direct communication between the parties. Now mind it, whether it is the dispute between two individuals or it is a dispute between two nations, the communication is the only solution. And that is why probably we continue to talk to Pakistan. Maybe someday we could make them understand. Because the moment we snap ties to communicate, God knows what would happen. So the mediator must have the sense of responsibility to allow and to assist and to facilitate the direct communication between the warring parties, which is not possible in the orthodox adversarial system of the court litigation. In courts, parties do not talk to each other, and they are rather discouraged to talk directly. They are being normally told, talk through your lawyer. And lawyers are impersonal. They don't have personal touch to the other side. They're impersonal. So they talk factual, they talk legal, they never talk emotional. And if you have realized in this skit, which is portrayed before you, finally the resolution happened due to emotions. I was watching it carefully, and you must have interpreted it. That the emotion worked finally, which the mediator tried to invoke between both the sisters. Finally, you are sisters. Realize yourself. She took them to the past. Very intelligently drafted or scripted skit we had seen, that the mediator took them to their past. Were you always warring like this? How were you in childhood? And suddenly those past flooded in their brains, and they were full of emotions, and the things were resolved. Now naturally the courts, we very proudly proclaim emotions have no place in the courts. But emotions do have place in the practical life. It has a very important role in resolving a dispute, which is possible only in mediation, which is not possible in the court. So the important aspect for any mediator to realize is to facilitate a direct communication between the parties. And if there is a direct communication, maybe that may work wonders. Because it's a human psychology. We all know that when we are angry with somebody, we multiply our anger in imagination. Because we justify ourselves. अरे उसको क्या इतना नहीं समझ में आया, वो क्या ऐसा नहीं कर सकता था, वो क्या ऐसा नहीं बोल सकता था, वो क्या सामने से मेरे पास आ नहीं सकता था, मैंने जब बोला तो उसने ऐसा क्यों मुंह बना. We imagine, without realizing that these number of justifications are also with the other party. वो भी यही सब सोच रहा है. और जब आप कम्युनिकेशन फैसिलिटेट कराते हैं तो यही शिकायतें एक दूसरे के सामने होने लगती हैं. तुमने उस दिन मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों किया, तो सामने वाला बताता है कि भाई उसने क्यों किया था, क्योंकि तुमने ऐसा किया था. अरे मेरा तो ऐसा इंटेंशन नहीं था, तो मेरा भी नहीं था. अभी देखिए, आपने देखा इतना खूबसूरत नाटक, उसने मुझे झापड़ मारा था, वो कह रहे हैं मैंने तो क्या सोच के मारा था, मैं तो हक समझ के, मैं तो माँ समझ के मार रही थी. अच्छा माँ समझ के मार रही थी तो मैं सॉरी बोल दी थी. अरे सॉरी बोलने की ज़रूरत नहीं. Now see, this communication is diluting that justification, that anger which is multiplying. So direct communication makes wonders. You can get wonderful results, provided you are intending to get that result with an honest effort. Otherwise, human psychology multiplies that anger with imagination. You keep justifying yourself. And it also gets multiplied when you talk to your like-minded set of people. Both of them have their like-minded set of people. Assuming, take example of these two sisters. इन दोनों sisters के friends भी होंगे, respective set of relatives भी होंगे. कुछ तो ऐसे होंगे जो दोनों तरफ से जाके sympathize करते हैं. और जब ये व्यक्ति अपनी grudges अपने लाइक माइंडेड पीपल के सामने एक्सप्रेस करता है, तो वो व्यक्ति हाँ में हाँ मिलाता है. गलत तो है, ऐसा किया, बहुत गलत है. उसके मन में क्या राक्षस बैठ गया है? ऐसा कैसा सोचा उसने, ऐसा क्यों किया, धोखा फिर लाया कंचा. And this goes on both sides. But the moment they meet each other, these grudges are direct, not indirect. And I fail to understand what is the purpose of the grudges if you cannot express them to the person with whom you have that. You must have that. You communicate that grudge to the other one, give him a chance to either explain or to repair. And with these two possibilities, things can be resolved. Either he will explain that why did he do that. And trust me, every person for every act has a justification. No person I have ever met who says, no, I did wrong. Because the definition of conflict, if we all understand in one line, the definition of conflict is when two people consider themselves to be equally right. Then there is a conflict. If one of them says that no, I'm slightly wrong, there is no conflict. The definition of conflict is when two people consider themselves to be equally right. And that is where I salute our judiciary. They do a wonderful job. These judges have to decide among these two equally right people which is slightly more right than the other. That's it. I remember Justice Ashok Desai, when he retired, in his retirement speech he said a beautiful anecdote. He said that when I was stuck with the most difficult case and I'm not finding a solution, which side is more right, I used to go home and discuss the case with my wife. Because he said women has a knack of finding the truth. So he used to discuss the whole case with his wife. He said that, it's not me. And he said that whatever my wife suggested, I did just the opposite the other day. The justice is done. Whole credit to Justice Desai, who had that knack of finding women's ability to find the truth. Therefore, it is important to realize that this direct communication makes wonders. Emotions do help us to resolve. And the finality which I said, which is reaching, is through settlement. Well, one important mistake which most of the mediators commit is that they do not make the party realize the consequences of an ongoing litigation. Because please understand, we are lawyers, we know the nitty-gritties of law, so our job should be to make the litigant aware that through law, maybe you will reach to the same conclusion but after 20 years. So in case, if I am in a position to give him this semblance that, please understand, that in law, where do you stand? Under the provisions of law, you are tend to gain this much and you are tend to lose this. Maybe with this expert advice, the person, the litigant who is under illusion that I'll get 100%, would understand that no. Even after 20 years, you will never get 100%. You have to compromise somewhere. Maybe after 20 years, you can get 60%. So here, agree to 50%, because 20 years later, 60% is equal or rather lesser than 50% of today. So if the mediator make them realize about the consequences of the ongoing litigation, the possibility of bringing them to consensus is higher. Now, as rightly depicted, as per the Supreme Court guidelines into mediation, the mediator has to indulge into 5 steps. Those who intend to be mediators of tomorrow, if they want to be a good mediator, the Supreme Court had given guidelines and finalized 5 steps for a good mediator. The first quality which a mediator must inculcate, that he must be a good listener. And that, if he is a lawyer mediator, he must learn it from our judges, because they listen. We lawyers are too vocal. We want to speak more, listen less. Sometimes we don't even want to listen to our own client. अरे तू करो, तुम क्या बताओगे मुझे मालूम है. We become superly wise. We don't want to listen to the woes of our own client. We must learn from our judges that they listen patiently. As a good mediator, if you are a lawyer, you have to curb your instinct to speak too much. First, listen. By listening only, you will understand what is the grudges, what are the woes of these litigants, why they have reached to this point. All right, you have a knowledge of law. So do our judges have the knowledge of law. But we do not know the facts. Facts, we have to listen. And we have to understand the gravity of the pain which he is suffering due to those facts. So the first, most important quality in a mediator must be that he must be a good listener. And if you all are married, those my male counterparts, they must be having experience of listening. At least I listen a lot. I have taken a vow that I will speak only when paid. Because I am a lawyer, an arguing counsel. So I speak and argue only being paid. And when my wife provokes me, why are you not countering? I wish I could give her a bill that I'll counter you, provided you pay me. Because I argue only after being paid. The second quality, after listening to both the litigants, as rightly shown in this skit, first separately, then jointly, then maybe again